Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to my deep guide, and today's video is going to be something very different. No e-inks or anything like that, and no new keyboards or synths, but we are visiting an upgrade to a very old, an elderly member of the synth family, and that would be the Yamaha SK20. So this is a synth that came out in late 70s, but it's also like in the like a tail ends of Selena and all of those other string machines. It has strings, it has an organ, but it also has a poly synth that is not a true poly synth. You can actually play throughout all of them. You can play multiple notes and they are nice. It's a single oscillator there, but the envelope generator and the filter generator is one, so that one is actually shared. So it's sort of like a Korg Poly 800 type of thing that we also all seen before. It's a wonderful sounding synth. It's a fantastic synth, but it has one problem, giant problem, which is that the Yamaha SK20 doesn't have CV either. So you had this kind of situation where you have like a really wonderful instrument, and yes, you can definitely perform and record it like you would a guitar or anything like that, but sometimes in order to make an instrument more usable in everyday life, you do want the ability to hook it up to your DAW, to a sequencer, to something else. And for a long time, it was, I was sad about not being able to integrate SK20 into my studio and into my music as much as I would like to, because it sounds just so good, but it's a bit of a faff to kind of go blah 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 and not being able to synchronize and all of that kind of stuff. So enter Tubbutec KAC TM62100 for SK20. Now, as you can see from this box, this is something, this is a mod kit that is made to accommodate and enable MIDI compatibility to SK15, SK20, SK30 and SK50D as well, if you happen to find that monster and have room to hold it there and support its immense weight. But joking aside, when I found this, I was elated because it's something that I was looking for a long time. The price ain't cheap, so it's really expensive. But in the package, you get absolutely everything that you could possibly need for an upgrade like this, and the way that it has been actually made is spectacular. So full disclosure, this was not sent to me, this was purchased by me from Tubbutec directly. The only thing is that I mentioned, hey, I have a YouTube channel and I wanted to make a video about it to actually spread the awareness of this, because maybe not everybody who has an SK line of a Yamaha device is aware of this thing, that it actually exists, and it's something that they might actually want. But it's definitely not like a type of video that's going to have a ton of clicks or anything like that. So I said like, hey, is there a possibility of getting a slight discount? He said sure, and that was that. So that's full-on disclosure on how I got this. So yeah, now let's go with the my documentation of implementing all of this, how it went, and what are the end results. All right, so here is my Yamaha SK20, the old beastie here that I got, I believe for $60 with the original case many years ago, and pretty much all works. The only thing is that the volume pot is incredibly scratchy, so that's something that I need to fix, and I plan to fix anyway. But this is the star of the show here, because this little kit enables this old monster to be actually hooked up and used by a modern studio, because it gives it MIDI capability, which is absolutely fantastic. So the kit is, yeah, as I said, it's Tubbutec KAC TM62100, and I just have to say that I'm incredibly impressed by the fullness of the package and just how it is. Basically, it comes down to removing the original chip, replacing it with the seat holder, putting the new chip in there, which also has the very handy plug-in connections, which then you use to hook up to MIDI and also solder to specific points on the main board so that you can control the frequency, filter frequency, resonance, and I believe sustain or release or something like that. I have everything that I need, which is the SK20, the Tubbutec MIDI set, and I got the installation instructions, which are also provided by the same one, which is awesome because they actually give you everything that you need. Oh, and one more thing that I really love, I'm just gonna show you this. A nice little stencil that you can use so that you can drill the holes for the MIDI, but it also has the sticker, which is going to be applied to the back, which actually matches the color and the font of the original synth. So all in all, a pretty fantastic little package, and I hope that yeah, that it works fine. Let's start with opening it up and removing the board, and yeah, just getting to work on this little bit, because if this works as I hope it will, then I'm going to be a very happy puppy, because the sound that this thing has is absolutely gorgeous. All right, so let's get these 3 screws off so that we can pop the hood. I think it's just these 3, maybe it's the 2 on the sides as well. I forget on this one which one it is, but we'll see soon enough. Nope, it's on the sides as well. When you're doing this, keep in mind which screws go where, because the ones on the sides are not the same as the ones that go to the front. There we go. And now very carefully open it up, because you can hear the crackiness. This is an oldie. This is an old dude. Okay. There. Okay, I can't really move the camera all the way there, but the board is all the way there. So this is the main board, and if I remember my user manual for installation instructions for this one, I believe this is the chip that we're going to be removing and putting it there. And then we're going to have cables going all the way up here to where VCF is. But first things first is basically take reference photos of this, remove very carefully the cables and the board itself, because this is, yeah, like almost 50 years old. It's not there yet, but it's close to being a 50-year-old board and electronics. So I'm gonna be quite cautious about how I approach this, because I really don't want to mess it up. Okay, I got all of the cables taken off, but this one is a grounding wire, I guess, because it's black, and it is down to the ground point. So I can either desolder it, but I'd rather not. So what I'm actually instead gonna do, holy moly, this is all wood. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave it as it is and just try to remove the board, because I got everything now off. The only thing I can't figure, oh, it's using the plastic ones. Okay. Oh, 50-year-old plastic that needs to be squeezed. Is that gonna end well? I don't know. Let's try. That one there is not an easy one to take away, because the components are all there, so there's very little room to maneuver with tools. So if you have a better tool, then sure, but yeah, just be aware of that. But they are surprisingly okay. Oh, there's one more. Okay. The thing that's surprising is just how smart Yamaha was, there we go, when making and designing this, because these are not hard plastic, they're soft plastic, which makes it easy to remove. All right, so let's remove the board. There we go. So this is the board. It's actually in a really nice state, which is kind of interesting to see. So yeah, it's definitely this guy that I'm gonna have to desolder. So it should be easy, but then again, it's an older one, so I don't want to apply. I have to find a balance of, you know, heat versus time, how long the IC is gonna be yeah, exposed to this. So we'll see and we'll try. Hopefully it should work fine. But that's the main board, and that's where the main work is gonna get to. So now I'm gonna get this guy off the desk to make some room to work on this one. Okay, it's starting to move out, so I got one side fully okay. Alright, so the solder pads are now cleaned. I lost one solder pad, and that was due to when I was removing the IC. Yeah, it was not, one of the pins were, two of the pins were not completely desoldered, and basically when I applied pressure, only one side popped out, and then when that angle came in, it exerted too much pressure on this guy, and it popped off. Now, that's normally a bad thing, but I've been lucky because this one is not connected to anything. At least the traces don't look like it's connected to anything. So if that's the case, then I should be able to just pop it back in and should be good to go. So that's what I'm gonna try. I'm gonna firmly believe that everything's gonna be a-okay. All right, so I'm gonna be following the orientation here. The original chip was oriented like this, so the notch is there. Therefore, the IC holder that's supplied should go here. I'll double check that, but I think that that's how that goes. Yep, the user manual image clearly shows that the notch is where the notch is. Okay, let's proceed. I'm gonna be really careful as to how I place this guy, because I don't want to exert too much pressure when it's going in so that I don't damage the pins. And also that I don't damage the pads, because if there's some small solder left in there or something like that, I don't want pressure. That's the main thing. So I'm gently nudging, very, very gently nudging the pins outwards here, so that the IC holder can fit easily without some crazy pressure or something like that, because you always need to bend them a bit. There we go. Is this okay? I think it's going. I have to get off the shot here because I don't want this. This is critical now. Okay, it's in. Did I screw up any pads? I did not screw up any pads. Well, that's good. That is a success. So now we verify that this is in the correct place. Good. And flip it over and let's solder this puppy up. Alright, so they all look good. Now I'm gonna use the multimeter and a magnifying glass to double check. No, they're not good. These two need a bit more. There we go, that's better. Alright, I traced them all, and if anybody, and everything's good. If anybody is interested in how you do that, you get your multimeter. I set it to resistance with audio indication so that when these two make a connection, they go a beep. Right, there's a beep. And what I'm testing is, first of all, I test each of these if there's like a short, and then what I do is I see on the board where the connection actually goes. So for example, this one goes here and it has a beep, and this one goes into one of these. There we go. Yeah, I don't know, this guy goes into here, etc, etc. So I checked every pin and they're all hooked up, and they have a good connection to where they need to elsewhere on the board. So this is good to go. All right, it's time to install the actual chip. So I'm carefully getting it out. The orientation is this way, so all of the connectors are away from it, and all of these little holes are where the pin actually is. So I'm hoping that this goes straight forward. All right, we're in. Cool. So that looks good. I'm just gonna verify, just to double check this, the top connections to the bottom connections, that I have a good signal so that everything is going down to the board correctly, just to make sure that it's all good, but getting there. All right, I've untangled the wires. So we got MIDI in, MIDI out. We got the CV control, and we got the portamento or sustain control. Actually, this is going to be the sustain control. So you really need to follow the guide because everything is explained perfectly. So familiarize yourself with which port is which. What I really appreciate is that we have a differentiation between MIDI out and MIDI in, and that you can't get it wrong because one is 3-pin, the other is 2-pin. Awesome. And first I was confused, like, okay, but this is CV, what the hell? And then it just clearly says plug the 2-pin connector with long wires, this guy, where in the socket labeled CV on the KAC board, route the wires to the upper right corner of the control panel PCB, solder the 100K resistor in place where shown in the picture, solder the red wire resonance and the black wire cutoff to the spot shown, and the spots are shown here. For that I think it's better to use color device, but for me this is okay because I know which one goes where. Yeah, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to plug all of these guys into the the chip itself here, and then I'm going to reinstall the board in there, and then I'm going to proceed with soldering and all that kind of stuff that's needed. All right, so here they are all plugged in, and I'm gonna make some room so that I can put this back in and then continue work on the inside the synth. Alright, so the board is back in place, and I was kind of debating, should I reconnect all of the stuff, but I decided to go with that, even though it's risky, because I don't know if I'll need to disconnect it again or not. But I wanted to see where the natural flow of cabling is, so that I can route it in a logical way. So what I'm going to be looking at is where, so this guy goes all the way up here. So somewhere around here they're going to be connected, and that's the first thing that I'm going to be doing, because there's like a resistor and that's it. Then I'm going to see where does this go. I think this goes somewhere around here-ish, I'm not really sure. And then we got the MIDI out and MIDI in, which we're going to tackle last. So let's continue working on this. Okay, in order to reach the sustain is going to be, I think, mounted down here. But I'm gonna have to take the protective cover off, because I'm gonna be, when installing the MIDI ports, I'm gonna have to remove this board as well. And also that's incidentally where the sustain should be, and also the volume pot is there. So I'm just gonna remove this and then proceed. All right, so now we're going to be working in the this board here. So that's the upper right board, and we're using the 2-pin CV connector with the long wires that's coming from the chip all the way down to here. Now the next shot is going to be me zooming into this section here, which is labeled VCF, so that I can show you where the resistor goes and where the wires go. All right, maximum zoom level achieved, so I can't get any closer really, but that should be good enough. But I just want to say again, what an awesome package this is, because the wires that you actually get, they come pre-thinned, which is so cool. Saves you a little bit of time. And this time we're going to be using the 100K resistor, which is also included once the camera decides to focus. And the way that goes is, first we're going to place the resistor. And the resistor goes, if you can see here, from VCF, you have the IC17, I guess, here. Then you'll see 4 bridges here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 bridged lines. And then from here, between this one and this one, that's basically where the resistor will go. And after that, we're going to solder the wires. The black one, I believe resonance is here. No, that would be the cutoff control. Black wire is there, and the resonance is going to be hooked up over here. So yeah, let's prepare the resistor and solder that there. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some new solder onto these connectors, or connections rather, because I want it to be easier to solder, so that I don't have to deal with it after. Okay, so that's that. And we also had this guy here was gonna be used. All right, so these are now tinned. I'm gonna do the same to the resistor. There we go. That's good. All right. Let's bend it a bit up, and so that it's a bit easier. There we go. Okay, let's now add more. Okay, well, that's gonna be tricky. Okay, less tricky than I thought. Cool. Resonance is in place. Cutoff should be here. That should be easier to do. All right, so we got those two. Cool beans. Let's now tidy this up and secure it, and then we'll continue on. Okay, so this is now done, and I've used cable ties to secure it there, there, and now that one is going over there, and I'm just using a little bit of a cable tie here just to keep them together when they are there. All right, so the user manual says that the next stage is removing this board and drilling the new holes for the MIDI in and MIDI out. And once that's done, then we do the last stage, which is going to be using the deoxit on the volume pot and soldering the I believe just the red wire is used, I think, directly to the sustain pedal hot tip of the jack there, and then it should be done. So yeah, the only thing is that they are saying, the user manual is saying, like, be really careful when removing this board because it's super fragile, and I'm gonna heed that warning very, very seriously. So I'm gonna do that off camera because it's strange angles and stuff, so I need full-on concentration not to screw something up. All right, so the input board is off. It's a bit of a faff. It's surface mounted. The only thing that's holding it is basically surface mounted in the back via washers and whatever. And so basically you remove those. Once you take it off, then you realize that you actually have to disconnect all of the cables, all of them, in order to actually move it anywhere. So take good photos and references to know where goes what back. And what I've done is I've located the foot switch input, and I've marked the tip part, which is where the sustain needs to be soldered to, so it's much easier to find because it's going to be a mess when I put it back in. All right, so now that that's done, I need to be able to do two things. This is a holder that holds, basically it's a bracket that holds the inputs, and there's one that's unused. That one's going to be in the way if we place the MIDI ports as instructed where they are, so I need to cut that off. And once that's done, then I can flip it around and do the drilling of the holes so that it actually, that it's okay, and then proceed. So yeah, the next thing is going to be working on the holes and making sure that we can install the MIDI ports and that it actually works well. Okay, so let's go. All right, I've placed the guide for the drilling holes here, so I'm gonna punch the holes and then drill them, hopefully, because I don't really have a metal drill that's this thick, but maybe the thing that I have, it will work. We'll see. But yeah, we got 3.2, and these say 14, but they actually in the user manual says 15, so yeah, that's what I'm going to use. Okay, well, this is done, but that was really annoying and really hard. The first one, upper one, was actually quite easy. Second one was a freaking nightmare, but it's done. The thing fits now, and I've cut this one to size so that it's now here and it doesn't extend over there. So I'm going to clean this up because it's all a mess right now. I mean, there's quite a lot of shavings down there. And yeah, I want to vacuum the synth from inside as well, and then continue. Well, this took a long time because of the washers on the other hand, on the other side. They're a little bit fiddly to actually put in because of everything, but I managed to actually sort it out, and I'm quite happy how this turned out. So I'm gonna start hooking it up and everything, and I'm gonna put the stickers last when everything is nice and done, because I want to clean this up with the alcohol so that the stickers can actually have a chance of staying there for a little while. Well, alrighty. So I've installed the MIDI jacks in successfully, and I've placed the outboard or input board back in. Now, before I hook up all of the cables, we have one remaining connection, which is to the sustain. This one, again, only the yellow wire is used here, and again is pre-thinned. The black and red ones are not used, and as such I've folded them here and isolated them with the electrical tape, just so that, you know, extra precaution. So yeah, this one needs to go. I have marked that, and let me see, it's here. Yeah, so I need to hook it up to this one. So I'm just gonna repeat the whole thing, but because I need a lot of arms and I'm gonna be inside the shot quite a bit, I can't really do a zoom on this. So I'll just show you the shot when I'm done with this. And here it is hooked up to the tip of the foot switch pedal, or the portamento pedal. So that's now done. So what I'm gonna do is reconnect all of the stuff very carefully, because there's like tons of them. I don't want to get any of those wrong. And then yeah, I've already done the deoxid thing for the volume, so we'll see if that helps it or not. And then I guess yeah, maybe test some stuff. Alrighty, so I think we got everything. Yeah, reconnected all the cables, shielding is back on, all of the stuff is hooked up. Here's the new chip with everything connected up nicely. Yeah, and I've verified all the stuff and it seems to be okay. So it remains to be seen, have I mucked something up while I was doing all of that? And also if that pad, contact pad that went off that I couldn't find, that it connects to anything, if that's gonna cause any issues or not. And yeah, if it works, but most importantly, yeah, if it's alive or not. So let's close it back up. There we go. And yeah, I'm gonna be trying it out. All right, let's switch it on and see what happens. Okay. Sniff test. Nothing terrible. Logic seems to be working and selecting everything. Okay. Cool. Okay, communication of the synth works. Now I need to see if we get sound. So headphones, okay, output on. Okay, it's still cracking, but way better than it was. And that looks like, yeah, it looks like it's always on the same spot, so I'll have to replace this guy. Yeah, okay, so no easy fix for this, but let's see if we get some sound or not. This is just me testing with the headphones, so. Cool. It's working. This is awesome. I did not break it. And it works. Cool. So that concludes this portion of work. I'm gonna be just doing a very short test now, just to hook up like an external keyboard and see, can I trigger notes via MIDI? Because if I can, then that's epic. And the next time that I'm actually revisiting this, this is going to be hooked up to a DAW, and I'm going to be trying to synchronize and just use it as a modern synth with its awesome sound. I'm relieved that it's working. Oh my god, the awesomeness. It works. That is freaking awesome. So, could it do the ARP? Let's do that. So basically, that is freaking cool. Okay, that is pretty freaking cool that this guy can now become a part of a modern studio. That I've waited for a very, very long time. And yeah, the Tubbutec thing, while it remains for me to actually just try it out with the with sending MIDI control and everything else, but even this, just the note controlling from external keyboard or anything, or sequencer or something, it's an amazing thing. Yes, it's expensive, and yes, it's fiddly to do, but what you actually get is absolutely fantastic. Well, okay, so I'm really happy that it was an absolutely fantastic moment to be able to hook up the SK20 via single MIDI cable to my KeyStab Pro. It was exactly what I was hoping and looking for a very, very long time. Yeah, if you do have a Yamaha of SK line, of any of the SK lines, and you do want to integrate it into your studio, I can wholeheartedly recommend the Tubbutec KAC TM62100. You can just go to tubbutec.de and you can find their conversion kits, and they have conversion kits for many other synths as well. This just happens to be one that I was interested in and that I actually needed. So in this video I wanted to document the whole installation procedure, and even though installation instructions are excellent, sometimes there are things that are basically, it's a little bit different than just an image and a real world experience of, hey, where's the screw, where's this, where's the cable, blah, 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 blah. So I always find personally those types of videos very, very informative and interesting. So I wanted to provide that service for anyone who's maybe gonna go into this adventure and upgrade their Yamaha SK into a MIDI powered machine with this expansion set. So for me, everything worked great. I was lucky with that one solder pad that it was my fault that it went off, because it is a very old board, so you really need to be careful when you're doing this, and you need to take the precautions quite seriously, because those solder pads and things that it can go really easily on an older board like this. If you're not comfortable with doing that, then you should take it to an experienced electrician who is able to actually do like this. Then it won't be a problem for them. But I think that it's really an upgrade that's worth it. So that's video number one. Now video number two for me regarding this is going to be actually checking it out. How does it integrate into the studio, making putting it into a context of a song, and making sure that I test out as many of the features that I can, because it should be possible to actually control each of the synthesis elements on a separate MIDI channel, and then just kind of have fun with that, and also to sequence frequency, resonance, sustain, and all of this kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm just going to be testing this puppy out, and that's going to be probably made into a second video, so that we have this whole kind of complete story of installation, and then also the user instruction portion of it, and to kind of see how does the KAC Tubbutec expansion, what does it bring to the table for the Yamaha SK synthesizers. I hope that you found the video useful or informative or fun. If you did, please like and subscribe, and ding the notification bell in the description below to get notified when new videos come out on my deep guide, because from time to time I do have synthesizer and guitar or bass related videos. It's not all e-ink, 90% of it is e-ink, reader, writer kind of type of thing, but you know, there's an extra 10% that's just for my own kind of sake, something that I really, really love and something that I'm passionate about, and this is one of those videos. So I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye!